Hi friends, this is Carmen. Welcome back to my channel. If it's your first time here, welcome. My channel is all about succulents and cacti in my balcony and houseplants in an apartment setting. And if that's something that interests you, please do make sure and you hit that red subscription button down below so you don't miss any of my videos. Today we're going to be talking succulents, more specifically aloes. I'm going to be sharing with you my aloe collection, and I have to count exactly how many I have. As I started to bring them in, I'm like, wow, I have quite a few. But I love them because they are so easy to take care of. And I'm going to show you all of them and give you some tips that I follow to make sure that they stay healthy. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so I thought we would start off maybe perhaps with the smallest and then work our way up to the bigger ones, okay? So let's start off here with this little guy. This is an Aloe Firebird, and it's really just a cute little aloe. Oh, there we go. It gives off lots of puff. This is a pup actually off of a mother plant that didn't survive, but the pup did, okay? And this one actually finished blooming. If I find pictures of them blooming, I'll insert them here. But a lot of them did bloom this spring. And this one, you'll notice that the leaves are a little bit closed off. You probably have heard me talk before that we've been going through a really bad heat wave lately, and the balcony plants have been suffering quite a bit. One of the ways that aloes kind of take care of their leaves and protect themselves is by rolling them up like this. You'll notice that they're kind of rolled in a little bit, and that's just their way of protecting themselves from the sun and from the heat. I do not have any of my aloes in direct sunlight because here in Arizona, that's just way too much. If you lived maybe in California, Portland, anywhere else where the summers aren't as strong as they are here in Arizona, then you could have them in maybe some early morning sun and afternoon shade. But in the summertime, everybody goes under the umbrella. The spring, winter, spring, and fall actually too, I will take the umbrellas down and have them get some morning sun, and that they love that. It promotes the blooming into the spring. But in the summertime, this is what they do to protect themselves. Okay, let me show you another one here that's kind of doing the same thing. Let me get the name here, and this is Aloe Snowstorm, which is kind of funny here in Arizona. But this is Aloe Snowstorm, and you see how also how it's kind of curled in, but she's giving off a pup right there to the side. So she's not completely stressed out. You'll notice also some leaves down at the bottom there. I like to maintain my aloes by taking those leaves off. I either will use my finger just to pull them off, but sometimes I will use a little tweezer like this to just kind of pull them off like that. And I do this for two reasons. One, just aesthetics. I like the look of a clean plant, you know, a plant with no dead leaves on it. I do the same thing for my inside plants. If I see a leaf that's going yellow and going downhill, it's out of there. I'm not gonna let the plant use up energy trying to maintain that leaf that's not coming back and that's dying. So for these, I just pull them off. Whoop. There it goes. And if you hear Rosie in the background, that's just her rolling around in the new carpet we got in the living room here. So you see it looks so much better. Like I said, you can use your fingers. Sometimes it's tight spaces in there. My fingers are a little chubby, so I can't quite get in there. That's when these little tweezers come in very handy just to pull it right off. If the leaf is not completely dry like that one was and it's more mushy, but you know it's dying off, I would cut it off, because trying to squeeze a mushy leaf with these tweezers, it just, you know, makes a mess. So I would cut that one off and let that cut portion harden off, and then it'll fall off on its own once it's dried off, okay? But I do like to keep my plants maintained like that. Okay, put the tag back in so we don't lose that. Now this is one of my favorites. I've had this one a while, and she is a slow grower. I've had her 2 years. This is Aloe Pink Blush, and she has this pup here that she's been growing for those 2 years. So that's the other thing about aloes, is a lot of the varieties are very slow growers, so they'll do very well inside if you give them enough bright indirect light. In the springtime, you know, some morning sun, so an east facing window or south facing window will do great. But this is something that you can have on a shelf, on a table, and enjoy it. For them to get these colors that they're known for, they do need to have some bright light or some direct sun to get them what we call a little bit stressed, and that's what brings out, in some varieties, that pink color or that orangish color. And it also promotes, again, the blooming stalk, where they send off that long shoot and they have the little tubular blooms at the end, which actually hummingbirds love. So if you have them outside in a patio, hummingbirds love aloe blooms. Okay, so this is the pink blush that's been growing for quite a while. She's been in this terracotta pot for quite a while. Now most of these, I think all of these are in soil that is probably about 18 months old, is the last one that I repotted, and that is the regular store-bought Miracle Grow succulent mix, and I added quite a bit of perlite in there. Little by little, I'm going to repot all of these, probably starting in the fall when the weather changes here, and put them in a new mix. You'll probably already know that I've been using or starting to transfer my succulents and cacti over to Tank's Green Stuff. It's much chunkier and free draining than what I have now. I feel like the store-bought brand, although it's good, and especially if you add perlite or pumice to it to make it more free draining, it still holds on to a little bit more water than I want to. It doesn't drain as fast as I would like it to. So these outside, I water them in the summertime at least once a week, especially right now when we're having excessive heat warnings and the temperature is very high. Even though they're under umbrellas, just the air temperature itself can dry them out, especially if they're in terracotta. So at least once a week. In the winter time, I'll back off, way back off, to probably about every 3 weeks, every 14 to 20, excuse me, every 21 days. And I'll also take into account if it's been raining. If it's been raining and they've been getting rainwater, I'll leave them alone, because, you know, they're getting watered that way. I don't want to water them again, because that's the best way to kill an aloe, is to overwater. Excuse me. If you're not sure your aloe needs watering, there's a couple things you can do. You can feel the leaves. If they're very soft, very tender, you know, it needs some water. If you put your finger down in there, these I just watered yesterday, so I can feel that they're moist. And it's very dry, they probably need some water. The best way, you know, I tell you friends, use a moisture meter if you're just not sure. Put it down in there. If it's in the red zone, 1, 2, give it a good drink of water, pours through the bottom, and then you start the process all over again. Let them dry out completely and water them again. Depending upon the season, depending upon the kind of pot that you have, depending upon if you have it inside or out, will determine. And as you do this, you will get to know your plant better. I know my aloes. I know, you know, how they are outside in the summertime and when they need water by looking at them, by feeling the soil, by picking up the pot. You'll get to know your plant and you'll feel more comfortable in your watering schedule. It's difficult for me to tell you, yes, once a week you need to water this, because in the Pacific Northwest, it may be different. It's a lot more humidity there that the plant already absorbs. So you need to kind of take these suggestions as a generalization and use them, apply them to your specific needs, okay? But generally, in the summertime, they need more water, bright indirect light, very fast draining soil. If you have the store-bought soil of, you know, Espoma or Miracle Grow, make sure that you add something else, some aggregate of some kind to make it more free draining, whether it's pumice, perlite, vermiculite, maybe something like that, to make it more free draining. Okay, I know a lot of individuals, Succulents and Sunshine, I know she really recommends. If you're not watching her channel, you need to watch her channel, Succulents and Sunshine. I'll leave a link down below. She uses Bonsai Jacks, which is very gritty mix. So you can use that also, and I'll leave a link below to that also. Okay, so let's move on because we got a lot to talk about here. Okay, this guy here is my I have got something in my throat. Excuse me. Okay, this is my Aloe Coral Fire. I think I have shared this with you before. I'm not sure, but when this one is, especially in the springtime, when she gets a little bit more sun, those little notches on the end, those little teeth on the end become more orange, more red. Really brilliant coloring and difference in color with the green and the orange. She's got a pup on the side there. This Coral Fire is another one like the Pink Blush that's a slow grower for me. Again, I've had this one about 2 years. This is the first pup she's given off, and she's, you know, probably grown maybe a couple of inches in that time. So it's a slow grower, at least it is for me. But very, very nice. It's one of those that changes colors on the margins, so you will have some wonderful color variation. I have a pine tree outside of my balcony, and it gives off all these little bits, and the little brown things that you see in there, and that's another good thing that these tweezers are good for, is to get all these little brown bits that are inside. Even with these being under an umbrella, they get those little things in there as far as debris and stuff. So that's the Aloe Coral Fire. Okay, let me show you another example here of an aloe that's kind of protecting itself. I have this one probably only about 6 months. This is Aloe Blizzard that I got from Planet Desert, and you can see the leaves kind of closing off there, protecting itself from the heat. I did just water this yesterday, so I can feel that the pot is, you know, you can feel terracotta and it just feels moist, cooler. So this one, I did give water yesterday. She's got a tiny, tiny little pup on the side there that's growing. But once the leaves do open up, and I think I may have a picture of when I first got her, they really just marvelous variation of the white and the green. And this is Aloe Blizzard. Okay. Now, one that I have inside because it's in ICU, and I got it at the same time from Planet Desert as the Blizzard. This is Aloe Aristata. And this one was really, you can see how it's just completely closed itself up, protecting itself. I have it in water therapy because it had a pup. The pup died, and I'm trying to save the mother plant. I think it was a combination of the heat stress, and I may have overwatered it a bit. So I took it out of the soil and put the one good root it had left, and it is giving off new shoots off of that root. So I have it here inside in what I call ICU. And once it gets better, it will open up. You know, I'm really sad that it's in this shape, unfortunately, but I'm trying very hard to save it because I have saved other ones before. I know that putting them back in some water and bringing them inside can help them and help them recuperate. Now, let's see. This one I know I've shown you before because I think I had listed it as in one of my favorite plants videos. This is Partridge breast. And look at the beauty of this aloe. Just incredible. This one flowered for me this past year. I think I have pictures if I find them. And I think still there's a little piece of the stalk that I didn't break all the way off. She's got a couple of pups down in there that are growing. And she's growing inside too, in the center. And I just love the structure of this plant. So beautiful. Here they have a botanical garden, desert botanical garden, and I saw some of these in the ground, just huge. They're so, okay, my battery gave out, so hope you didn't miss anything. Anyway, so these can grow in the ground huge if you have the right environment. Now those were growing under some trees. They weren't out in full sun. They were under some mesquite trees. But anyways, this aloe partridge breast is just absolutely gorgeous. Again, I've had this 3 years and it's not huge and it's barely just giving off some pups. So there are definitely aloes that you can have inside and they'll grow slowly for you. Okay, this is an Aloe Juvenna, I believe it's pronounced. I'll put it here. And she's a little leggy. I do want to propagate her, but it's too hot. I can't take any pups from her or cut her right now. She won't survive it. It'll be way too stressful for her. And you can see some of the stress and the sun coloring on some of the leaves there. Again, even though she's under an umbrella, I think early morning the sun just kind of sneaks in sideways there. But she's got a little dead leaf here. Okay. She's in this very shallow pot, and she's been in this shallow pot for 2 years now. This is actually a Goodwill find that I drilled a hole in, and she was much smaller. She was about this size, this size right here, one stalk when I put her in this, and then she started giving off shoots and pups, and look at her now. I will probably put her in a bigger pot. When I do repot her and propagate her, I'll do all that at the same time. But this is Aloe Juvenna, really beautiful. Very hardy plant. This plant can take a lot. Okay, I really like the color that she has too. Okay, this is my Aloe Brevifolia. I think I have shared this with you once before. This was a clearance plant that I saved. Look how well she's doing. See, I do need to kind of clean her up a little bit. She's got some dead leaves under there and some debris and stuff. But this is real life, friends. This is life out on the balcony. You know, it's not all clean and pretty sometimes. But this Aloe Brevifolia gives off, this is the main mother plant in the center here. All the other ones around her are her pups. Okay? She's loving it in this terracotta pot with some free draining soil. I've had this one probably about 9 months or so, not a huge long time. And she did have pups when I got her, but they were very small, so they have grown quite a bit this past spring and summer. Aloe Brevifolia. Beautiful silvery color to it. So not, if you like a lighter color, this is great. It's not the, darker greens. Okay. This one I know you've seen very recently because I had it in, I think, my last month's favorite plants. This is the Aloe Crosby's Prolific. Again, her too, I need to clean her up a little bit from some leaves, but she loves it in this more shallow pot. These pots are called azalea pots that are more shallow. The terracotta pots, aren't as deep as the more traditional terracotta pots. They're called azalea terracotta pots. And I like them for succulents because succulents don't have huge, deep roots. This is a big plant and it's doing fine in this pot. I think she likes it snug in there. So if you don't want a huge deep pot, just look for these azalea pots. But this one here, again, I think this one also bloomed too. Crosby's Prolific. Look at that beautiful pup it's got right there. It's just gorgeous. Now, one thing I do get asked is if I fertilize my succulents. I do when I remember. I'll be honest with you. I do when I remember. I do use the Miracle-Gro succulent mix, a succulent concentrated fertilizer, and when I do water them. But, I think the last time I fertilized these was the beginning of spring, to be honest with you. And they're doing great. They're giving off pups. They're growing. Succulents and cacti outside, at least in my experience, don't need as much fertilizer as my indoor plants, my more tropical plants. Those, in growing season, spring, summer, a little bit into fall here, those I do have more on a schedule for fertilizing. My succulents, if I remember, I'll do it. If I don't, I don't. What I do is, water them, make sure that they get water. And on these, I don't even use filtered water. I use my regular tap water. And again, they do fine. They're much hardier and can take a lot more than your tropical plants. Now this baby here, oh my gosh, this is heavy, is the Aloe Striata. And I did clean her up. She had some dead leaves down on the bottom, and she's a little bit wonky. That's just kind of how she's always grown, a little wonky. And when she does get direct sun in the springtime, these white margins that she has right now turn coral, almost red. It's really just a beautiful sight. This one grows big. Look how long those leaves are. And I've kind of trimmed her up a bit. She does grow big, so she needs her room out there. She can't be crowded in. In this Aloe Striata, I've had about 3 years. That's when I really started collecting succulents and stuff. And she's doing great. She's got a lot of growth in the center right there. She hasn't given off any pups from below. She's got a great root system because I repotted her not too long ago into this pot. She was in a ceramic pot. So I changed her over to this terracotta pot, and she's got a really good root system, long. So this one, this bigger one, does have a longer root system, but you see this is a longer, more traditional terracotta pot. And but she's gorgeous in the spring when she gets some sun and those margins turn orangey red. Oh, just gorgeous. This is an Aloe Alligator Macrosiphon. I'll put it on the screen here. And I got this one fairly small about 6 months ago. Well, 9 months ago. Had a tiny pup on the side. Look how big the pup is. Again, I'm not going to take that pup out into the fall. And she's grown a lot wide. I thought at first, oh, this wide pot, it's, you know, it's not even a pot, it's a bowl, ceramic bowl that I bought at Goodwill, drilled a hole in it. And I thought, oh, this is, you know, it's shallow enough, let me just put her in here. But she's taking up the whole pot. I mean, she's spreading out. She likes to spread. So again, this one also is a big grower. It was in bloom when I got her. Beautiful bloom stock. And that pup is really grown. She needs a little cleaning up too. She's got a leaf underneath here. So you can, they get crunchy and just take them off. But in the fall is when I'll propagate her and put some fresh soil in her. Here in our region, the fall is so calm, I guess you could say. It's really like our second spring. A lot of gardeners here refer to it as our second spring because you can do things to plants here in this region, Region 9, that you probably wouldn't do in the Midwest, northern regions, Northeast, when you are letting your plants go into dormancy. Many of my plants don't go into dormancy. A few do, but a lot of them don't because the weather is so mild that it's almost continuing. It's like a spring again for them. So that's why I let them, as best I can, survive the summer, and then in the fall season is when I'll do any other plant maintenance I need to do, propagations, repottings, things like that, because it's like a second spring. Okay, so the last one and my favorite one we're going to go outside for because it's the mama plant of this little guy. This is an Aloe Vera. This is a pup that I took from the mama plant outside that I've had for years and years and years. And this one is going with Kristen to her new home. It's a pup that I cut off, didn't have any roots. I rooted it in water and then put it in soil, and it's been sitting here just waiting for its new home. Okay, so let's go outside. Okay, here we are on my balcony. And this little frog here, this terracotta frog pot I've had, oh gosh, 12, 13 years. The little bit of green that's left on it, Kristen painted that when she was a little girl. That's all that's left. But I've had, this is a cutting from a mother plant I had at my old home that I brought with me, which that was huge. And this one has grown and grown, and I've taken so many cuttings from this. As you can see, it really does need some cleaning up. But even with some sun, it gets some very early morning sun here, it still grows and grows. Let's see if I can get closer, see how many pups are still down in there. It's time for me to not repot it, but freshen the soil in this, and because it's been in that soil for what, 4 years now, so it is time for me to repot that. But aloe vera has to be the easiest of the aloes to grow. It's in this terracotta pot. It's not very deep. You can see there's not a huge amount of soil in there, so it does dry out in the summertime fairly quickly. So this one definitely once a week in the summertime, every 14 to 21 days in the wintertime depending upon the rain. And it's out here 365 24/7. I don't bring it in or anything, and if we do get a frost in the winter time, Rosie, what are you up to? She stays out here. Rarely do I cover her also if there is a frost, but she is definitely the easiest to propagate and the easiest to grow. If you're going to start off with an aloe, I would definitely recommend an aloe vera, and then move on to any of the other ones that I have shown you today. None of those are hard aloes to grow. None of those are hard to get. They're, I would say, fairly common. They're not rare by any means, and they're beautiful plants to grow, and they do flower, so you get some beautiful blooms in the springtime. Rosie just loves to get under the tiered shelving here and just sniff around. It's super hot out here. It's, I think, about noon, and it's just, oh, I'm sweating. Let's go back inside. Well, there you have it, friends. That is my aloe collection, and I hope you enjoyed it. I hope that this was informative for you and inspired you to get some of these beautiful plants. Don't be afraid of succulents. Aloes is probably the easiest succulent to start off with. Definitely, I think, easier than echeverias, because I have trouble with echeverias, but aloes is probably the easiest succulent to start off with. Easy to obtain in the big box stores and online too, like Planet Desert has a great selection too. If you're looking for more information on succulents and such, definitely check out the channel Succulents and Sunshine. I'll leave a link below. And if you like this video, friends, please do give it a thumbs up. I appreciate that so much. It helps my channel out so much in YouTube algorithm and all that stuff, and sending it out there into the YouTube stratosphere, I guess. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of this fun. Okay, have a blessed day, and I will catch you in the next one. And I'm going to start very soon in showing you my setup in the new plant room and the new bedroom and living room. You probably noticed things are changing, so it's going to be lots of fun, so you don't want to miss those videos. Have a great day, friends. Bye.